Brandy Show.
What's up, good people? Welcome to Anyango Brandy Show, and today we have an open discussion. And before we start, I am your host, Spencer Brandy.
I'm your co-host, Peter Noel. And today we are blessed to have some of our guests in the midst of us, and they'll just introduce themselves before we kick off this discussion. So from my right.
Well, I'm Beth Kamang.
Okay.
Oh, I am Arnold Osano.
Okay.
I'm Stacy Akin.
Okay, Maina is my name.
Okay, they're just brief like that, and we appreciate you for that. So we're going to talk about, we have been talking about some of the issues that are affecting the youths in particular, and on Nyango Brandy Show we got you covered, and today we are going to factor in some of the issues as far as HIV and AIDS is concerned among the teens, because there's been that increase in teenagers' infection towards the HIV and AIDS, and today we want to see what are the contributing factors towards this factor. So on this platform today, we want you to share with us what are some of the factors that leads to the high rate, because the other day the Ministry of Health rolled out a statistic that 98% of youths weekly are being infected by this disease. So just want your ideas, then we can see towards the end how we can get away or we can solve these rising statistics. So from my left is mine. What can you say towards this matter?
Anyway, HIV and AIDS, it's not even a pandemic by the way. This is something that we have been living with it for the past, I think it is around 3 decades. But now, the question or what we have in the table is youths are more affected by this thing. It's something that they know about it, but now the problem is what is now making them, instead of maybe trying to distance themselves from acquiring that virus, now they keep on going toward the same point where the virus is. Number one, a lot of currently we are experiencing economic sabotage, whereby there is no money circulating in the economy, and we as youths, we have been seeing people who are above us, maybe around, the youth bracket in Kenya is around 35 years of age. So we see somebody is at 50 years of age and this person is making it in life. We want to be like them. And maybe we are in campus, we don't have maybe food on our table, on our dispensing, we don't have food. So we tend up to follow those people, and in exchange of that, we end up doing sex. Highest prevalence of sex in exchange of maybe to get social amenities, basic amenities in exchange of sex, and that's where we now go wrong.
Okay. About HIV and AIDS, it's a common thing, and majorly you see African countries, but just to speak particularly about Kenya. Kenya, we have high rate of people who are infected with HIV and AIDS. As my counter
Specifically, let's talk about the teenagers here.
See, we'll talk about
sure.
them. So, as Maina has said, one thing that makes us as youths to get infected with AIDS, HIV and AIDS, is because we indulge in sex too much. And this is not just sex, it's unprotected sex. But if youth can indulge in sex that is protected, we could be having high risk of HIV and AIDS. But we as youths tend to indulge in sex that is unprotected. I can say that.
Because they go with the analogy that when they use protection is not safe. Okay. But
Personally, I can say, according to me, I can say, okay, we as youths, we have that power to explore. And you can see, as we joined campus, maybe we were pure, we were just good girls and good boys. But once we got into campus, we started doing some things that we never did before. For example, that is sex, drugs, alcohol. So you find maybe not necessarily sex that leads to HIV and AIDS, but we find out that maybe needles we're using to inject ourselves, the heroin and cocaine, those drugs may lead to HIV and AIDS too, not necessarily sex.
Okay.
Sure.
Sam.
Oh, thank you. Mine has talked about poverty. She has talked about recklessness and drugs. I come from the CSO world, and we do a lot on matters HIV infection and affection and prevalence. So contributing factors to the youths, teenagers in particular. Let me start with one, poverty, which he has talked about. In Western Kenya, we have had the issue of sex for fish, one, where, and then currently I was discussing with him minutes ago, we have something in campus called sex for food, where a lady will tell you, come to my house, kuja na nyama.
Wow.
It's the reality. And then as a youth, unabeba nyama, unasahau kubeba condom. At night, we end up having sex. That aside, poverty. She has talked about drugs. Drugs, we've seen many youths, especially nowadays. If you go to clubs, you find more girls than boys. Girls drink a lot of alcohol, smoke a lot of cigarettes and bang, more than boys. And I don't know if we are depressed as a generation or we are frustrated. My point now, as a community, I believe we have normalized stupidity. In Kiswahili or Sheng, you can say, tuna normalize ujinga, tuna hype ujinga. You will find a youth, let me say for example, myself. I have the information. I know how AIDS spread. I know the effects of AIDS. I know everything about AIDS. But then, sometimes you can find, it's not the reality, just saying. Sometimes you can find somebody like me, when they see an opportunity to have sex, they lose their common sense.
Yeah.
So, we are in this thing called quick kill. You want to kill it quick. So you end up having sex, then you don't even test yourself. So one thing, we used to don't test ourselves. Hata hapa najua, it's been long since you were tested. You don't know your HIV status. And you have some sex with someone who don't know their status. After 1 year, you're having sex with 10 people, this says you're out there. Unaweza kuwa mgonjwa. It's when you know. So we should go back to the basics. When the testing, we use protection. You make a comma. Yeah.
Okay, all of you have said something in common about the poverty, and towards it you have talked about the unprotected sex and sex for money, sex for food, and also the sex for fish you have talked about in Noma Bay mostly. Yeah.
Actually,
So,
tell us more about sex for fish.
Yeah.
Sex
Maybe
for fish.
somebody does not know what it means. Maybe it has an inner meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. Especially her from the central.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing from what I've said about sex for food? You find in an island or a bay, somewhere near the lake, we have got families living in dire poverty. They don't have the economic means to either purchase food or access food. So the people who are economically empowered are the fishermen. They have the means of production and they have the resources. So you find maybe a young girl from a family, you can say the father died because of AIDS. So it's a single mother family, they don't have the means. The fisherman has everything. He's having money, he's having fish. And this lady or the mother, the family needs to be fed. And the only way to convince the fisherman, you see, men think with their stomach or their lungs. So it's having sex with the fisherman so that they can get food or money. So that's sex for fish. For economic empowerment, it's the same thing about sex for food. It's just the same story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maina, I think I have a question for you.
Yes.
You know, kids that I can call them kids still,
Yeah.
the teens are kids still. So you as a man, are you the one to be blamed or them in a case whereby, you know, this one is still an 11-year-old girl and 15-year-old child, you know. Are you the one to be blamed the moment you have unprotected sex with this kid, or is she the one to be blamed according to you?
Okay, it's an ambiguous question because, you know, sex, I can say it's a basic need. Yes.
Yeah, in the current world, it's more of a basic
In a
need.
current world, it's a basic need.
Does this have something to do with hormones?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, sure.
And also
Correct.
exposure,
Yeah, and
social
also
media.
exposure, and also even the environment that you are currently raised in. You get it?
Yeah, sure.
So, it might be okay having a sex with a minor and you are an adult. By the way, that's something that's even against the law. But now, as I've just said, it depends with the situation. Here you have a kid who is 11 years old, who is 15 years old. You are a man who is 30 years old or 20 years old. Maybe in one way or another, I can put it in quote, the kid is on heat. Although human beings don't get on heat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying it in quote. The kid is on heat, and now maybe you are just strolling around, having your things, 1, 2, 3, you are doing your own things. Then the kid, and also maybe the mode of dressing. Are you getting it? The mode of dressing. As a man, maybe I don't have a woman at my dispenser, and now the kid is here. She's strolling like seductively. The power of seductiveness.
Yeah, sure.
Moving up and down, and now you see I'm alone, and
There's
as
an
a man,
opportunity.
yeah, I need to appreciate the nature. The kid is now strolling
It's
around.
nature.
Yes. Now I have to maybe try to seduce her, and if she agrees, as long as I've not raped
Okay,
her,
before you even continue,
Yes.
don't you think that is recklessness?
It
Because you know, you have to do this.
That can be justified.
You know, you have to do this. You know, there's no way. Actually, in our last interview, we talked about, you know, how woman cannot penetrate a man. Okay, in normal world, in normal ways. It's very hard for, you know, a lady to penetrate a man. You have to do the penetration, right? Meaning you are at the right position to put on a condom. However much you'll see her, you know, showing off her things and stuff.
okay. But it depends. I think it depends. I think that's
Okay. I want to bring on another subtopic. You have said something about penetration and the condom. In the current world, I was talking to some people even before I came here, and people, they have this perspective that they used to postmona 2 or the P2. Yeah, the common name is P2. They always feel like when they use a contraceptive, they are not going to be infected with the HIV and AIDS. Yeah, so many of them think in that direction. But you know, this thing only prevents someone from pregnancy. So do you think also this stereotypic mind is also affecting youth? Because let's not use CD, let's just go raw. Then, what she is seeing is just the mimba, only the afterlife.
Peter, I think I don't know whether we are reading on the same page.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
You know, right now you are an adult, you are a youth, right?
Yeah.
And somebody who is between 10 to 19 years is still a kid. So when you are a guy in this case, you know you're at your right senses of doing the right thing. You have to use your head. It's your recklessness actually, because when you decide to go to that girl when she's that young, to do that with her, then you're the one to be blamed.
But you have to accept something, Spencer. Currently, a class 6 girl or a class 7 girl will tell you something that you'll not even imagine as a So they are more exposed. They are more exposed.
And why are we measuring on maybe small girls and big boys? Why aren't we seeing this 16 to 16?
Yeah, I was actually coming to you ladies. Do you girls first, do you girls seduce young boys? Like, you know, right now you might be 21, 20 or 22. Can you go to a boy who's like 17, 18 or 19 years?
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, the Krashia and bestie thing has really ruined everything.
Wow.
Yeah, the Krashia and bestie thing is ruining everything. But okay, there's a question I had for you. We have talked about the sex for food or sex for fish. So let's focus on about sex for food. Do you think the parents, do we have to blame the parents here? Because in campus life, mostly you are talking about campus life, they go for that sex for food. Do you think the parents are giving, or do you think these kids, they need more than what the parents can give?
Sometimes we can blame the parents and sometimes not. Because sometimes maybe my mom today sent me 2,000 bob and I saw some nice clothes somewhere, then I had to buy. Then looking for a way to survive within the week so that she can send other money. So I think sometimes parents are just reckless.
They
They're just
neglect
taking
their
us to
kids.
campus and thinking that we earn money there. So sometimes you find some girls in clubs with babas, just to get that 100 for food. Yeah, that is what I can say. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay, what can I say now?
3 months ago, not 3 months, 3 weeks, there was a judge in Machakos who made a decision that a child should only live within the means of their parents.
Exactly.
So we can't blame parents. There's one man who said, I've forgotten the name, but he said, you're only a failure when you start blaming someone else. So we have to blame ourselves. As students, in many occasions, we want to live not within the means of our parents, but within the means of our friends or the people we see. So when I'm being sent for, let's say, 1,000, in a normal situation, that's money which can take me for even 2-3 weeks. But then I have friends who drink alcohol. Nimetoa 200, nimebaki 800. I want to go for a photo shoot. 200. You see, it's us to blame. So within 2 days, we feel ashamed to call our parents. But then you have to buy food. It's when we know that food is a basic need. Okay. So there's somebody somewhere who has been seducing me, and he or she seems to be having money. So what do? I give in with the hopes of getting money. And then there's this issue. I know it's out of the story, but then there's this issue. There are girls who go for
Baba,
the sponsors, and then they don't get money.
Oh.
You see, let me say, I'm a friend to sponsors, and girls who go to sponsors, in most occasions they don't get money. So you go there, you get heartbreak, pregnant or infected. So it's us to blame.
Okay, you talked about living within our parents' means.
Yeah.
Okay, it gets to a point where, what she said before, you came to school and then it reaches a point where your parents have completely forgotten about you. You have to eat, you have to do this. Now, if you start living within their means, are you even going to study?
I know. But then in Kenya, the age of being free is 18 years. And anybody, many people in campus, let me say 90% are above 18 years. And if you survived in high school within your parents' means, there's nothing stopping you from surviving in campus within your parents' means. I know it's kuna many bats.
Peer pressure and
but then,
in school, let me interrupt a little bit. In school, you are guaranteed lunch, breakfast and supper in school. Here you have to provide for your own self.
But I know. Let me inject. Let me tell you something. Most of the time you see these students here in school, just check one who can even just track from home. Most of the time you find these parents they don't send money frequently to these kids. Follow up. There's something they're hiding from the public. Most of the time they're hiding something. We can't blame the parent, because if he gave birth to you or she gave birth to you and she knows my child and she loves you and you are the son, you are the only son or the only daughter, she'll always take responsibility. But the number one thing that is affecting this thing is about us lying to our parents most of the time. When they find out, it hits differently, because some of them wanakula fee. Some apply for help. Ukimwambia help, even cater for that help, they can't even cater for it. Or you're lying to your parents that you are supposed to go for, like the last time I was telling you, somebody lied to the parent that they're going for a trip to Indocha. Indocha is up here. And the mother sent him 20,000. When the mother followed up, so even if you are as a parent, will you send money again? So there's a problem. We can't blame the parents also.
Okay, I wasn't saying entirely we don't have to blame our parents. Yeah. But Stacey, do you agree with me? It reaches a point where your parents are not sending you that money. You badly need it, you've been a good girl. But then there's that time you want it and you're not getting it. Maybe if it's not happening to you, but some of your friends, etc.
What if kama iko hapo?
Basically, I would say that a good parent or a person like mzazi mwenye amekuzaa mwenyewe and amekuleta shuleni haizi kukuneglect. Hata kama hana, I know a parent will even sell something back at home akutumie hiyo pesa. Shida ni most of us in campus here. Personally, maybe mimi natumia 2000 for a whole week, si ndio? Nataka live a lavish lifestyle that I cannot afford. That's why we have been told by Osano, let us live according to the means of our parents, zenye anaweza afford. But hapa campus kuna pia pressure mingi. Unataka weekend utaenda out ufanye nini? Na hii 2000 yako maybe haitatosha kwa afford kwenda hiyo out. But it's rare. It's very rare to find a parent not sending you money sincerely. Kama mzazi wako amekuleta shuleni na anajua unaistahili pesa, hata kata kutumia hiyo kidogo, survive nayo. Na sisi kama pia as youth ama students for campus, we have to find extra ways of earning money. Sijasema hizo zingine zenye you have to indulge in sex for nini. There are businesses which you can do. You can do online writing. There are other sources of which you can get money. Si lazima to indulge in sex for money.
Well, as to why you said we may blame our parents or not. Okay, there was a case about suicide. We later followed up and found that the dad is a deputy principal in some national school somewhere. So sometimes parents
and they choose
Okay,
not
but
to
if
pay
you
fee
look at that-
completely. They don't
completely.
do.
If you look at that issue, it's not only about there's been having family issues.
Okay, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's
And
not
majorly
about
the
boy peke
polygamous
yake.
families.
They have been having family issues. Ndio maana maybe hakuwa anatumia pesa. But kama ni mzazi amekuleta shuleni hata ni nini, ata sacrifice hiyo pesa kidogo yenye akona atakupea. Haizi kuacha hivyo.
Maina, what can you say about it?
This thing is becoming somehow zigzag, but you need to understand one thing. You see, as a student, especially in campus or college, we have been saying about peer pressure, but there is nothing like peer pressure. Let's categorize this peer pressure. If it is financial peer pressure, social peer pressure, or even mental peer pressure. Once we categorize the peer pressure in that three broad ways, at least we can come up and narrow it up. Like, to be honest, I can say a parent can never neglect a child, unless maybe it is a polygamous one, but I'm quoting a polygamous in quotes because I've seen people coming from a polygamous family, but the dad or the mom provides. Especially if you are the mom. By the way, here where we are, I can even say, if you see maybe the kid is struggling in one way or another, I can blame the mom. Mothers are always known to be having a very I don't know what I'm going to say.
The parental care.
Parental care, heart and everything. The dad might neglect. I'm a man. I might neglect my child, but now the mother can look on ways to maneuver and ensure the kid or the child is okay. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So we can't basically blame on. But and again, you are an adult. You are in campus. I understand fluctuation and inflation things might be having a problem in you, but you have brains. It's not a matter. It's not a fact. You by the way, when we join campus, we normally told you are an adult. You go there to enlarge in your niche. Look, it's not a must. Maybe you are doing education. You will one day become a teacher. You can become even a journalist, basing on what you have in brains. Use your brains to at least get what your parents can't provide you. There are very many opportunities. You can engage in CBOs, you can engage in community health works here and there, and then you get being paid. So we can't just basically blame our parents for not providing for us.
Well, it is easy for us to say that we can work in CBOs. Have you found one?
Yes.
I think I want to add on Maina's
But
point.
do you know, guys, before we continue, do you know guys who are here in school but still send money home?
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, so don't entirely.
First, I want to add on whatever you said.
Okay.
It goes down to our social circles, maybe as a student. You know, the people you work with, spend time with, defines you.
Yeah. Sure.
So there's a basis for friendships. There's a time somebody died in Maseno, I think last year. I've forgotten the name, but it was, I don't know, a designer or what.
Remy.
Yeah, Remy. So I saw my mother sent me a newspaper article, obituary. So this Remy was my village mate, and I didn't know him. And even his friends didn't know where he was coming from, because I asked the friend, I've seen this Remy is from Homa Bay. Kwao ni wapi? They said hatujui vizuri. So do our friends know us? How do they know us? You know, if your friend knows that Spencer is not from a very well established family, they will always understand you financially, everything. So it's us to know who our friends are and how are we honest in our relationships. Even if you have boyfriends or girlfriends, they know where we come from. You know, you can be nice friend and ujui kwao ni wapi. So we need to define our friendships. You be honest right from year one, that week one. If you have friends, tell them mimi kwetu ni Migori, Uriri. I have 2 brothers. Yeah, kwetu we are not well established. Or kwetu kuna pesa. I can spoil you guys. So in the long run, mkiendelea, your friends understand you. Even if you go to a club, they won't pressure you. Ati tunachanga elfu.
Yeah, you're trying to fake your
you
life.
See?
Yeah.
So if your friends understand, if you are honest to them, watakuelewa. Lakini if you are dishonest, they will go to these small things of fixing things to match their way of life.
Yeah, sure.
So it goes back to our social circles and our characters, individuals.
To add on that, because there's something going on YouTube, there's an incident that happened on at Juiced. Yeah, so like you are telling that lady, she was pretending like they had, and at home, like she was the first girl, she was the firstborn. The mother was just she was alikuwa napalilia watu ndio analipwa. Then hizo pesa za CDF at least alikuwa anapata kidogo. But this lady alienda campus and she faked everything. So you're like, these ladies pia alisema okay, una fake and we know you. You know, she was faking, but these ladies knew her very well. So the baba thing, well, they trapped her up. They gave her some kababa, and no, they were playing nice. They were just drinking, but they were not giving in. But she gave in, and she was infected. So what Sana said is very important. But they know your friend, because they always say, "Show me your friend, I tell you."
Tell you who you are.
Exactly. So the next question, we've talked about the sex for food and poverty and everything. Do you think the government empowerment, because now empowerment now has gone to something like they've forgotten HIV and AIDS by
Okay,
per se.
let's do it like this, because time is almost up. So you give us your view as per the question is asking you, and then you can add your own, your own view.
Yeah.
Let's start from Ina.
Okay, you have asked the government?
Empowerment towards the sensitization of the HIV and AIDS and everything.
Okay, I can say, as before the beginning of the interview, I said this is a disease that has been living with us for the past 3 decades.
Yeah, sure.
It is like a chorus in a song. People knows, even somebody is 3 years old kid can tell you, ukimwi, HIV, I know it. And now that's now where the government is now going wrong, because we have like, it's like a temple whereby nowadays they don't even give it a higher notch, higher top. By the way, if you can look, my friend here is a strategist, economic strategist, he will tell you, when you look at the budget whereby infectious diseases, you can check HIV nowadays is not highly budgeted. We have like looked down upon this thing, and we do, and the reason as to why it's killing majority of us, unknowingly or knowingly, is because of that thing. With the government totally. When I was back in primary, we even used to sing some songs, sensitization, ukimwi ni ugonjwa mbaya and the rest. If you check in the current syllabus, that thing is not there. We are now majoring on something like corona, something that has happened
Yes, the other
2
day.
years ago or 1 year ago. We have forgotten this thing that has been in our backbone ever since. And we have just like looked at it like it's a past tense. And you see, we as Africans, to be general, we as Africans, when something becomes a past tense, to us it is now the present tense. So the government should at least continue with the same sensitization, the same mass awareness, be
before.
20 years or 10 years ago. And after it, like the way they have done with Corona, all of us here, we can at least, you see, they started fighting Corona on a top-notch, higher tier thing. And now, at least, we are reducing this thing. But now, look at HIV. You can check today the statistics, WHO statistics of Corona and HIV. Those things, they are totally two different things. So the government is failing on one, in one or another. And another thing, giving people who are not qualified to be the CS of health. You see, once you give maybe an economic strategist, a health strategist, a health science student that docket, they will be knowing, you know, there's difference between infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. So when you give somebody, I'm sorry to say this, when you give someone maybe mtu amefanya music docket of health, what do you think that guy can do to be sincere? Nothing. No wonder you keep on seeing, okay, to diversify, you know, HIV and malaria ni hivi zinaendanga pamoja. You get it? Malaria is something that has been disturbing us ever since. You have HIV, you are a kid, you have HIV, malaria follows you same way. We'll never eradicate these two things or this one thing unless we go back to the roots and make a staunch grassroots towards whatever we are fighting. We will never. The government should come in, and we are calling them to come in.
So, okay, thank you. Miss Stacy.
Okay, I'll say as much as we want to blame the government for this, I'll go back to blaming the citizens. As much as the government can employ these policies for us to prevent HIV and AIDS, we as the citizens are ignorant. There are testing which the government does for free for HIV and AIDS, but we as citizens, we don't want to get tested. Tunasema, mbona nijue niko nayo, sitaniua zaidi nikijua. Because you are ignorant, you don't want to know it. There is always a day for HIV and AIDS in Akwanga worldwide. It is usually declared. For me, the government is doing its part at least, but we as the citizens of this country, hatutaki kufanya hizo policies. Tunapewa condoms for free for us to use them. We don't want to use them. We are measuring based on these other contraceptives kama pills sana ni. Tukiambiwa tutumie condoms hatutaki. Tukiambiwa we get tested, watatangaza results zangu huko nje. Unajua, as much as the government also needs statistics for these things. Tukienda wataona, people watuliwa test ni kidogo. Let us just ignore it. We can consider na corona, yes. Statistics zilikuwa zinaenda juu, anasema we have to do something. But ukirudi hivi, watu wenye wamekuwa tested ni kidogo, statistics zao ziko kidogo. Ni kama same to malaria, unaambia mtu lala ndani ya neti, hataki kulala, umempea neti anaifunga tu hapo juu, hataki kulala na. It is us the citizens who are ignorant to these things. Tukikuwa very vigilant and do the right thing, the government will chip in. Kama venye pia God help those who help themselves. The government can't help you if you don't help yourself kwanza. So help yourself first to prevent this thing. Then the government can come in. Watasema, hivi na hivi, I can see at least this country tumejaribu si kama citizen. We chip in and lay the strategies. Ni hayo tu.
Okay, thank you. Beth.
Okay, when I see, like today I say, mi naenda pale kutest. Maina niambie wewe utapata chenye wewe unatafuta. So,
Yeah.
you see, utapata chenye unatafuta. Meaning like he's discouraging me not to test because ati nitapata chenye natafuta. So sometimes it's just ignorance. The government has done its part about providing condoms, awareness, and sexual education. So I cannot say that we can blame the government.
Okay, thank you. Sana.
Oh, government.
Not government. Oh yeah, sure.
That's empowerment and sensitization.
I think nikianza I said something about to minimalize ujinga. So I'll blame we the people and I'll blame them, the government. You see, since AIDS came to Kenya, I don't know, 1986, 85, till now, we had campaigns. Growing up, we had a very big billboard, trust condoms. Ilikuwa imeandikwa je una yako. Nowadays it's not there. But then you see government policies, for them to be effective on the people, impactful, it's not just about giving people condoms. The people need to understand, why do we need condoms? Why should we use condoms? Because if you rely on news that kuna AIDS, use condoms, the people won't use condoms because there is AIDS. the government needs to tell the people why there is AIDS and why this AIDS is dangerous. Then it goes back to, I said I'm from the CSO world, so the civil society organizations. Most of the times we do projects to please donors and not for the people. When a donor tells you do this project for me in Kisumu West or Kisumu East on AIDS, I want to give him results, not the people results. So I'll tune my results to his desirables, not the community results. So we have to be honest and passionate. It goes back to us. I as a person, I should know that I should not have sex without a condom as an individual. It goes back to me. So the government has a role to play and they are doing it. And we, the people, we have to support the government in doing this. Because even today, a girl will know 98 girls or 98 youths were infected yesterday. And a lady will today go and have sex with a person mwenye ajua hata ako positive or negative. And they are very comfortable with it. So we have a role to play and they have a role to play. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. As we wind up, I would like to close up the topic by saying there's these terminologies zenye zimekuja, oga urudi soko, vitu kama hizo. Unajua the moment unaoga unarudi soko, ujui uko soko utakutana na kitu gani. Sijui nyama kwa nyama. Hiyo nyama kwa nyama like ni izile maujinga he was talking about. There are recklessness, there are things that you can avoid, but because of peer pressure, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, you have to make your own decision. So as much as unasikia hizi wa baba, sijui what, nyama kwa nyama, sponyo, etc. Decision is yours na ni wewe ugonjwa itakushika. So it's upon you to take care of yourself.
And thank you, Abad. Wanasema aliye na masikio asikie, ukipuuza wende ukaathirika. Thank you so much for coming through, all of you. And that's a good show, all of us. So thank you once again. Mkikaribishwa tena natumai mtarudi. Okay,
you can also give us your opinion in the comment section below. Tell us what do you think is increasing the rate of HIV among the teenagers. Thank you so much. Subscribe. I'm your host, Spencer Brandy. Until next time, bye-bye.
Adios.